I don't know who needs to hear this, but God put this word on my spirit. God wants you to know that He is not through with you yet. He says that if you focus on me, truly focus on me, and cut out all distractions, before you know it, you will be sitting in what you prayed for. But in order to properly plant those seeds, you need to be in a position, your heart needs to be in a position to where it's solely focused on God, and to where you don't have all these outside things and this outside noise pulling you back. Don't allow weeds, aka distractions, to sprout up and to get in the way of your growth, to snatch the nutrients from your growth. It's funny because when I was driving up here with my mom, she was like, man, the weeds grew like really quick. Didn't we? She was like, didn't we snatch those weeds up not too long ago? I was like, yeah, we did. And she was like, that's crazy. Like, they grew back quick. Now, mind you, we just pulled it up. So that was like a temporary fix, like a Band-Aid fix. So that reminds me of, like, you may cut out these distractions for a little while, and then you get right back on the train of feeding those distractions, aka feeding your flesh. And before you know it, these weeds grow back because you didn't do what you needed to do to like kill them, like to dead them. And so, yeah, I was telling my mom, yeah, we might need to get like some weed killer instead of like pulling them out next time. And so in this time where you do cut out distractions, you take this as a time to kill it, like with weed killer, which is you like praying, fasting, like going forth in a process that is intentional, to where you have in mind from the jump, like, I have to kill these distractions, aka these weeds in my life. Like, this is not coming back into my life. And if it does try to sneak in, I have no desire to even entertain it, or I have a newfound strength to just nip it in the bud right then and there. To be able to recognize it in its early stages rather than when it sprouts up and it's already snatching nutrients from my growth. So it just reminds me, as you go forth in like deliverance and God is pruning you and cleaning you from, the inside out, have in mind the entire time that this is not a temporary fix, that this is a long-term fix. And before you know it, God's going to snatch those desires out of your heart. And you're not even going to want to dilly-dally in what used to, hold you down or snatch the nutrients from your growth. And so to remind y'all, God is not through with you yet. Yes, there's some things that you can work on and that need to be cut out. But just keep in mind that this is not going to be a temporary fix. We're going to nip this in the bud, and we're going to focus. We're going to move forward. We're going to keep our eyes set on what's presented to us, what's ahead of us, so that we can grow. Stop giving those distractions power. Stop feeding into the distractions. And you know what it is. You know what it is that's holding you back, that keeps you in those cycles. But remember, you can't do it alone. So once you do identify what it is that you need to cut off and to get out of your life, you take it to God and you surrender it to Him. You identify it, and then you just bring it up to Him. Okay? And prayer is going to be your best friend in this moment, in this time. Not only does prayer shift things, but it also just gives you a peace of mind to be like, okay, I voiced this to God, and it helps you to surrender it. Like, you're more likely to surrender it to God when you do bring stuff up like that in prayer. And make sure your prayer is solution focused, and to also just speak a word of faith in your prayer. Like, thank you in advance for giving me like courage, for giving me the strength, for giving me the discernment, for giving me the wisdom. Thank you in advance, Lord. Always think solution based. Don't just go complaining. Sometimes you're going to have that prayer where all you have the energy to do is to just go before God and just voice your worries. He understands we're human. But make sure that many of your prayers are solution-based, if you get what I'm saying. But yeah, don't continue to stunt your growth, and know that although God has done a work in you and He's cut out many things from your life, know that God is never through with you. He's never done with you. And that there is always something that needs to be cut off, that we need to be delivered from, so that we can become stronger in Him and continue to show God's glory in our lives. All right, I don't want this video to be, I don't want this video to be too long. So, hope y'all stay encouraged. Love y'all. Love and blessings.